sponsors.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, or maybe it's afternoon or evening or afternoon or morning where you are, should I say. Today with me, as always, Mr. Chris Skew.
How are ya?
Mr. Darryl of the Maple Trees of the Studios.
Good evening.
And our first guest as this new trio, Darryl of Dread Knot Woodshop.
How's it going, everybody?
Cheers, Darryl.
Hey,
Cheers, Darryl. Well, I'm gonna cheers in with my coffee. So there you go.
Well, it says cheer on my beer mug today. It says cheers. See, I don't know if you can see it. Whatever. Anyways.
And I have a genuine man crafting custom crafted coffee.
I've got a half a man crafted one. I actually done this myself, which I messed up. But anyway, I digress. That was off to a good start.
Well, we tried.
So, Chris, have we got any random listener questions before we start badgering Dale?
We don't have any random listener questions. But if you don't, we've got a lot of questions from Andy of the Pews and also Richard of the Bennetts. But I have one question, and we'll start off just by getting in touch with Darryl. And Darryl, before we find out your backstory and everything like this, dude, I gotta ask you, how many freaking lathe chucks do you actually freaking own? Because I saw your live stream the other day, and I counted 12 in the background. I mean, you got like a fetish for these things, or what's going on, man? How many of these things do you own?
14.
You're a sick man.
Wow.
You're a sick
I'm a lazy man.
One of the things that I found funny about Darryl is some people have a whole room just for their wood storage. He's got one for jaws.
I'm looking at this wall. I'm going, that guy owns it. I started counting one. I'm sorry. I just quit paying attention to you. I'm counting the chucks in the back. I got 12 of them hanging on a wall. I got one, and I'm glad to have that. All right, whatever. Anyway, I'm sorry. Jamie, go ahead and take care. Introduce Dale to everybody so we can get going.
So, Darryl, so one of the things that we're going to kind of go a little bit old school now. We're going to ask for your kind of like your comic book story. So, where did it all begin for Darryl of Dread Knot? What's your comic book story?
Let's see. Try to be concise about this. So, I've actually been a woodworker, in some form my entire life, but I was a box maker and furniture maker for at least 25 years now. I've been making boxes and furniture and flat work. I started wood turning the first time probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And my friend at work, I went in and he made these flutes, these Indian flute things. And I asked about him, and he was, there's some back and forth, and he ended up giving me a lathe. So I played with that for about a year. I bought the Easy Wood tools. I think that was around the time that those really were starting to come to market. And I just didn't make the progress I was looking for, so I gave it up after about a year. And then several years later, they opened up a Rockler like 20 minutes from here, and the Nova rep was there, and they gave me a good deal on a Comet 2.
Chuck number 2.
And the rest is history.
Nice. So that's where you started, and you never kind of really looked back after that.
Yeah. I fell into the rabbit hole heavy.
Yeah. It's a rabbit hole. It is.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Let me quick question for you. I mean, Darryl, do you have a day job, or you just do this on the side, or is this what you do for a living?
So currently, I've also been working in IT for a little over 20 years. I'm a computer tech for our local school district
Awesome.
here in Volusia County. I've been actually at that job 17 or 18 years now.
Awesome.
Nice.
So this is kind of a way, your woodworking and your wood turning is just kind of a way for you to wind down and kind of get out in your shop and clear the head kind of space, or just kind of just what you do for fun?
So my actual degree is in art, and I've always I've always had that, always been pretty creative and interested in creative endeavors. But it was just, my wife and I, we had kids young, and I figured that the IT route was an easier way to support my family. So that's what I did. And these days, my kids are basically grown. I have a I have a 20. Let's see, my son Dimitri just turned 25, and Jordan's 20, will be 22, 23 shortly. Gabriel's 20, and Ethan is 15. And now that the kids are kind of grown up, I'm making the switch. And my goal is within a couple of years, I'll be doing this full time.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Glad to hear it.
Nice. So one of the, I mean, let's crack straight into it, and let's just hope that he's in the chat watching. So there's someone in the community that that doesn't believe that CA is a finish, and we know that you've kind of perfected it. So I'm guessing you're a firm believer that CA is a finish on wood.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Who is
I guess
this
we
insane
can,
person? No. Who is this insane person? Name him. I want to name.
who is this? So this person would be Mark the Gentleman Woodturner.
Mark, put down the pipe. You've smoked enough, because if CA
we
isn't a
want to know
finish,
what's in that. We want to know what's in that pipe. There it goes.
if
oh, there you
CA
go.
isn't a
He's,
finish, I will kiss your whole rear end. It's it's friggin' waterproof, you moron. I mean, come on. No, I love you, Mark. I love you, Mark. I love you.
I have to tell you, I really enjoy using CA as a finish. Because I can't think of a single other finish that I can get the results I get in the amount of time it takes, in the small amount of time it takes to set up my CA finishes. I mean, I could have a museum quality finish in less than 24 hours, which that's something.
Yeah, I mean, you are by far one of the people that I know that's arguably perfected it. The finish.
You got these guys out there. These guys out in the chat are splitting hairs here. They're going, CA is a glue, not a.
Well,
let's talk about finish, okay?
It is a glue. It's also a finish.
The word itself means
the
word itself means I'm done. Finish done. Okay, that's what a finish is. Now I don't care if it's a glue. Or if it's your mom's, 2-month-old freaking lasagna, if it's on there, it's done. Okay, it's a finish. So don't go splitting hairs on me and tell me it's a glue. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, there we go. So
I know some people that use Gorilla Glue as a finish.
See, it's a finish.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew one girl who used it as a shampoo.
Oh yeah.
What?
You guys,
what?
No, both Mark and Wayne, they know I love them. I hope they do anyway. So I'm giving you an overly hard time, but come on, boys. A finish is a finish. When the piece is done, it's done. You finished it. So it's a finish.
I think there's definitive and scientific evidence contained at www.dreadknotwoodshop.com and at Dread Knot Woodshop at YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and any other place you'd like to go find.
He's as bad as me, Chris.
Hey, he's not afraid to self-promote, and that's fine. I mean, I love the boy. I don't care. Let's get into some questions, because we have the Andy of the Pews, who has and Andy.
The
I
Pew
love you, Andy.
with Andy Pugh.
The Q's with Andy Pugh. Andy actually says he met you in 2019 at Maker Central.
Yes, he did.
Oh, you're supposed to go. Oh, yeah, like you really remember that. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, what a great guy Andy is.
You remember anyone offering you Welsh cakes? That was Andy.
All right.
I actually do remember meeting Andy.
Oh, you're lying through your teeth.
Oh, no, I definitely am not.
Okay, all right. Cool.
I even confused him with somebody else. I remember clearly having met him.
I'm not going to ask who you confused him with, just because we don't want to go there.
Go on. Who did you confuse him with?
No. We can only stir the pots. I can only stir the pot so much. I got Mark and Wayne mad at me, so I'm not going to do it anymore. His obvious first question is, and you kind of laid the backstory to it, but how did you get it actually? I mean, you got into wood turning, we know by the guy who did that was making the flutes, and you did it. But did you teach yourself, or did somebody teach you? Was it a mixture of the two things, or how did you come to develop the skill you currently have?
So when I started the wood turning, like I said, my friend from work, he kind of got me started, and he was, whenever I had trouble, I would go and talk to him. And so really, Kurt Keys, it's his fault, that that I do this much wood turning. But most of it is self-taught. So I don't like to be told how to do things. So if I want to know something different, right? Like, let's talk about the last thing I'm working on, these off-axis boxes, right? I have a friend who has done a tremendous amount of work in the off-axis area, right? And I was having some issues, and I asked him one question, and I told him before he answered, I was like, listen, I only want you to answer this one question. I don't want you to demystify the whole thing for me, because I want to, work through this on my own. And
discovery, your own discovery. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And he's like, why are you reinventing the wheel? I'm like, I'm not. It's Dread Knot Woodshop is a learning shop, and I try to bring, my viewers and fan base, if you want to call it that. I try to bring them along with me because it's important to know that, things don't always go to plan. I think I just got off topic a little bit. Sorry about that.
That's right. No, that's fine. That basically somebody gave you a clue, and then you took it from there and just have progressed. That's kind of okay. That makes sense. Who or what are your inspirations? Is Mr. Pugh's next question. Do you have any people that inspire you, or do you just you have that kind of self determination? You get out there and inspire yourself.
I've been thinking about that. Let's see. My buddy Kurt has been a big inspiration for me, because he, that's kind of who, that's the person that I look to when I need help. Him and my friend George Guadiani. Neither one of them are really active on social media, but they're basically it. And then, to be honest, the entire community, really, because when I started doing the whole YouTube thing. Laney Shaughnessy. I met him at the Rockler store the same day I bought the lathe, and I told him I wanted to do YouTube, and he was just like, you know what, just do it.
Laney's good people. And Laney is good people.
Yeah, he is, and that's been my inspiration. And to be honest, well, anyway, I think there's some other questions down the road I can pepper the rest of that into.
Okay. He says wood turning appears to be your favorite form of making currently, but are there other forms of making that you enjoy? And I know you said you did boxes and all kinds of stuff for years, and I don't know that you would do that today for enjoyment. But I mean, are there other things that you do that just maybe don't make it on YouTube that people are unaware that you go out there and do? Yeah, actually,
I do really enjoy making boxes and furniture. These days I don't have time because I'm trying to build the woodworking business based off what people know me for, and what they know me for is wood turning. So that takes up the majority of my time. But I do on occasion do some flat work. And one of the things I'd really like to spend more time with is hand tools. I've collected a bunch of stuff, but I haven't really had the time. Now that I've been able to collect the stuff, I haven't had the time to really play with it. But
when I learned you were coming on the show today, I must confess I went back through your back catalog on YouTube, and some of your first videos are actually you doing flat work. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. Your favorite tool other than a lathe? This guy over
here. Plane. Oh, sorry. I got serious for a second there.
Don't do that to me.
The answer is my favorite tool is yours truly, Jamie Page.
Awesome.
Well, I think you kind of answered this. You know what? And I'm not gonna go there because I mean it's hard to disagree with that. Sorry, Jamie. You kind of already touched on this because you were talking about the off-axis stuff you're doing, and you were looking for some recent advice. But he wants to know what you learned the most recently, and I guess that would be it.
Yeah, but most recently I've been playing with the off-axis stuff, but I'm always learning something new because I have different different vendors that I partner up with, and they ask for things every once in a while, and I don't always know, but I have to figure it out real quick because I have to put on a compelling show, like I knew what I was doing.
So did you by any chance start the off-axis stuff because you realised you couldn't do finials and hollow forms?
Fancy stuff.
I'd like to know how many hours you've put in using a tool very similar to a hollower.
Ooh, I don't believe I have the ability to count that high.
Yeah, quite a few hours. If you haven't seen any of Darryl's hollow form videos, go and check some out there. He's done some fantastic pieces.
They're awesome.
Thank you.
Really are.
Yeah. So,
we have
more. Sorry.
No. We have more questions from Richard Bennett, but I was hoping that maybe the chat would throw some questions up for Darryl. And also, if either of you two gentlemen might like to actually chime in as opposed to me speaking, that would be nice.
Well, Jurassic Woodmark's actually got a question for Darryl. He says, how much of a partner is your wife in your growing business / brand?
She determines what I can and can't sell.
There you go.
So she comes out.
That looks nice. It's going on the shelf.
Yeah, she's like, don't make plans for that.
Oh. In other words, like my wife, she's your biggest critic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I would be ashamed to sell that. Don't do that.
And by the way, Mark, my wife was just asking about you today. Matter of fact.
Who?
There you go.
Jurassic Woodwork.
Mark Christopher.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mark Christopher.
When wives start asking about Mark, then you start to be concerned.
Benjamin has a question out in the chat. He asks, what technique or aspect of woodturning took you the longest time to crack? Pun intended. So before you answer that, we need to measure this not only in years, but in chucks, right? So not just in years. How many chucks? So is it like an epoch for chuck by?
Okay. So the thing that took the longest is and I haven't even achieved it yet is a soft touch with the tools. That has taken me that is something that is not easy to conquer. So I guess you could also call it tool technique. So that's been the hardest thing.
Yeah. I feel I'm quite heavy-handed when it comes to turning as well.
See, I'm the opposite. Because I'm obviously not as accomplished as either you or Jamie or Dale in turning, because I kind of piddle around with it. I'm very shy about presenting the tool to the piece, and so I don't have a problem being gentle. My problem is being aggressive enough to be productive, because sometimes I have a hard time. Let's just get this thing done. I'm not going, but I'm a little worried I'm going to do that, and so I take my time and go really slow. And that's obviously not necessary, but that's just how I started to learn.
I have this image of you can go, would you mind? Sorry, we just go to touch. Excuse me, would you mind?
Pardon me, sir, but I need to put this right here, if you don't mind. And we'll go slow.
Actually, Chris, what I actually mean, that's not what I mean, but what I mean is you like the aggressive part for me would be like getting to a shape, right?
Okay.
Because I'll hog it away real, just get in there. Right. But it's the finesse thing. So it's the
Gotcha.
Evicting sandpaper from my process, or as much as possible. That's what
Gotcha.
I mean.
Gotcha.
Because that's tough.
Do you use a Skew at all?
I do, but we have a tumultuous relationship. When it's good, it's fabulous. When it's bad, all hell.
It's bad.
Call
Because
the
I
cops.
know-
Call the cops.
Because as
someone getting killed in there.
as much of a lower intermediate turner that I am, I've used a skew on several occasions and have accomplished what you're talking about. But maybe it's just I don't know enough to be scared of the skew because like I didn't really worry about it. I was like,
the life out of me.
yeah. Well, I haven't had a bad catch with one yet, so maybe that's my problem. I just haven't been educated enough. I'm still young and ignorant, and so it's like, hey, why not?
Jamie, don't you have a small story about a projectile skew?
I do. I lost my skew for 3 months, and I couldn't find it. I walked into the workshop, and it was dangling out of my roof of my ceiling. The lathe took it from my hands and ripped it away from me.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I've never used one since. Hashtag Team Carbide.
You actually wait a minute. You actually didn't know it was in your ceiling?
I couldn't find it.
Oh, you're kidding!
The wood grabbed hold of it and took it between the tool rest and the wood, and it shot off. Bing! And I cleaned the workshop within an inch of its life and could not find it. And I wonder, about 3 months later, I walked out of that door and I just stood at the door and just looked up. And there it was.
I thought maybe you had to change the light bulb, and if you never had to change it, you wouldn't have found it. I mean, I don't know. You never look up, do you?
No.
How many wood turners does it take to change a light bulb? None. They keep finding skews up there.
Yeah.
Apparently, it takes a skew though.
It takes a skew.
Yeah.
Joe, do you have any future plans to have a collab with any other makers? That's from Dave the Wood Barber.
I'm always open to a collaboration, but I haven't. I don't know. I haven't really had a big idea for what that looks like. So if anybody's interested and you have an idea, I'm game.
I've got an idea. Maybe Mark can turn something. Can you put a CA finish on it?
Yeah, that sounds like a great way to go.
Oh man! See, I didn't start that this time. Okay,
Yeah. Floodgates open.
I was over that, but
bloody.
Jamie revisited. That's not my fault. Oh my god! So Darryl, I'm sorry. You said how many years? How many years you been turning? 8?
Well, if you count the break, yeah. If you count the break, but without the break, it's been 5 or 6 that I've been serious about it.
You must have been
measured in 14 chucks, right?
Well, no. Yeah. But you must have spent some serious time in those past 4 or 5 years to achieve the skills that you currently have today. I mean, because you don't get that way unless you spend time on that lathe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's true. If I had to attribute something to that, it would be my relationship with Nova Technitool. So early on, I started doing some work with them, and they asked me if I would do these videos for them, and they wanted a video for
Chuck's number 4, 5, and 6. Chuck's 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
And in the process of I did a video for everything in the line of chucks, as far as the chucks go, all the jaws, all the accessories, everything. And through that, I had to do, it wasn't just how much time I was standing at the lathe. It was the variety of things I had to achieve proficiency at. So, I didn't even know what, I'm trying to remember what the thing is called. All of a sudden it escaped me. Forget it. Anyway, there's this little thing that holds thread for making lace.
Right.
And I had to I had to look it up and find out what it was and then make it, because they made so many references to it in the documentation for this set of jaws. But that's really that I could attribute that to the short period of time, all this growth in a short period of time. I could attribute to that project, the majority of it anyway.
Got a
Got a
question.
question. After you, sir.
What wasn't it? That wasn't that one. So let me hide it. It was actually from the Beard Time 16. He wants to know: have you tried a CA glue finish with Tight Bond colored glue? I didn't even know Tight Bond made it.
The Star Bond. He's talking about the color of the black, the brown, and the white.
Oh,
okay.
so it's not Tight Bond. It's get the product right there, buddy. All right, come on. All right, anyway. Kidding.
Yeah, I've used the black before. I haven't used the brown, and I have some of the white, and I haven't used it either. I haven't really found an application for it, but I do use the black, particularly like if I'm doing something with cherry, because cherry gets those black sap marks anyway. So I'll use that for that. I did try to use it as a finish once, but it didn't really work because it's too thin. So if you're doing it as a finish, it was too thin. Because I had this grand vision that I was going to make this jet black thing by finishing it with black CA, and that did not work out.
It doesn't have the blood. What about do they? And I don't know because I mean, does Star Bond have like a medium in that or a heavy?
As far as viscosity,
yeah,
they do.
So, but because you said you were using the light, and I didn't know if you changed the viscosity to being a little thicker, if it would actually do what you were hoping.
Well, I was using the medium.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it would, just because there's not. If you spread it out, it's pretty fairly translucent. The color comes from putting it into a tight space. So, like if you have a crack on the surface, for example, there's a lot of shadows happening anyway inside that crack, and the fact that the CA is tinted. And you have a little bit of a concentration of it is where you actually get the color, because if you fill the crack that went all the way through with black, and you put a light behind it, you can see through it.
Okay.
There is a translucency to it. It's just the fact that the walls of the crack or inclusion or whatever it is that you're filling up, the shadows created by that, and as well as the lack of light inside the piece.
So if you intended to turn maple into ebony, it's just not going to work.
No. Well,
okay.
You might be able to put like 50 coats on there.
Yeah, but by then it's not wood. So what does it matter what's on it? You could do pine. I mean, so
Right.
why not? All right, cool. All right, Richard Bennett has a couple more questions, and then we're just going to kind of free roll from here, I guess.
One out in the chat, Chris, from Robert Hodgepodge Woodworks. He says, question: I've seen YouTubers such as Ken Moon mix mica powder with CA to fill voids in resin. Ever thought of using that mixture as a finish?
He used CA to fill voids in resin.
Well, but
he's used mica powder with CA to fill voids in resin.
Mica powder, like the resin, the resin tint. I
haven't tried. I've heard quite a few people talk about that. I have not tried it yet. That's something that's on my list of things to try. I would imagine it'd be a lot like particulate like a particulate inlay, which I do that pretty regular using brass shavings, ebony shavings, and glitter and
mother of pearl and things like that.
Yeah.
I would think it would be an expensive way to go, though, because the mica powders are not terribly inexpensive, and you'd have to fill it pretty good. You'd have to fill that void with the mica powders, or you'd have to fill it with something else as to fill the bottom and then put the mica powder on top. It's not something that I've explored yet, but that's not to say that I won't.
Awesome. All right. Speaking of Mr. Beard, Richard Bennett wants to know what interests what interests do you have if outside of the wood shop? I mean, I don't know. Are you a bird watcher? Do you like long walks on the beach and glasses of wine? I mean, I don't know. I guess it's kind of the genre he's asking. What are you into outside of the wood shop? Are you into doing anything? I mean, poker on Friday nights, or what's the hell?
Yeah, I like to. I like to cook. So.
I love you already. I love you already.
Chrissy's heart.
No, I love him
barbecue
already.
Barbecue and baking are my two favorite things.
Smoking meat.
Yeah. I actually, I do have a little skill.
Oh,
with
that's
a
my
smoker,
boy.
you know. I got a little skill.
Is
I've not
child.
had anybody ever leave any barbecue on the platter.
My
Ever.
friend, when I was growing up, I had friends just like you, and they taught me everything I know. And I'm telling you, those boys down in Florida, they know how to barbecue. If you get
I feel another trip to Florida's in need.
I may actually thinking about it, I may move there now. I may move back again.
You know, just another little tidbit on the cooking. Actually, my uncle and I have competed several times in barbecue competitions, and the biggest one we competed in, we won. We got second place for People's Choice, which is when you come to the event, they give you a little card, and you have like 5 spots. You can go visit 5 different vendors, and then you pick your first, second, and third choice. And that event went on for about 4 hours, and our line was so long. I mean, we had so many people coming by our booth that we ran out of food after the first hour. And
kidding.
And then
Nice.
you have to do, when you do those things, everything has to be timed. Like, your pork shoulder gets turned in at a certain time, your chicken at a certain time, your ribs at a certain time. So what we did is when we completed the next entry, then we were making more of each thing than was required. So we cut that up and then we offered that. So the first hour we were giving out samples, and then probably there was another hour broken up over the rest of the 3 hours that we were able to give out samples, because every time we offered them, they were gone. And even though we weren't actually competing for about 2 hours, for about half of the event, we could not give anybody anything because we didn't have anything. We still won second place.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. You came to England a couple of years ago, and you're telling us this now?
Yeah. It's funny. I've traveled with. I also have a vacuum sealer, right? For because we had 4 sons. We buy a lot of food, and one time I was going to visit the in-laws, and they wanted me to bring ribs, right? So I brought 3 slabs of ribs, vacuum sealed, in my suitcase, and when it went through the X-ray machine, dude, they didn't want to let me. They didn't want to let me get on the plane. They're like, "Dude, you didn't bring us any? Nah, we're gonna have to hold you right here."
Oh man,
I can't believe it.
Darryl, you and I need to get together, and I'll let you cook for me anytime you want, my friend. Because, I've never actually been involved in an official barbecue competition. It's always just been kind of friendly competition between friends, but I know how they work because I've been there and I've been to competitions and I've seen how they work. And you guys are not just kicking back and having a great time at those things. I mean, you're working your rear end off. I mean, that's a lot of work. All right.
Yeah. I've seen like Super Bowl Sundays kind of cook-offs on like TV and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, God damn.
No, these things are day-long events. I mean, there are guys who show up at these cooking events and they start barbecuing the night before because they're smoking stuff throughout the entire month. Man, I'm telling you.
RVs, as far as the eye can see, there's guys out there all night. There's this one guy, he made his own smoker, and it looked like an ice chest. The old school ones with the slanted front, and you lift it up, open the door, and you get your food. And it looked just like that, but it was powder coated like a cherry red color. It was fancy. It was like a Ferrari of smokers. And this guy had it all sealed up. It had rock insulation and all this stuff. And he had this system on the back with these 2 chimneys that he filled up with charcoal, and he lit them at the bottom somehow. And it would burn through all this charcoal. Well, this guy, he's a little smug bastard too, but he comes out in the morning, right, with his coffee. He's yawning and stretching. Oh, yeah. And he's like, all you suckers been up all night, right? But I'm going to walk over here right now, and this is going to be the best whole hog you've ever seen in your life because it's all sealed up, So he didn't have to go out there and tend to it. He doesn't have moisture problems because, again, it's all sealed up. And he walked over there, and sure as heck, it was That thing was beautiful. And he wasn't up all night messing around with it. And he come out that morning just bragging. He's like, yeah, you guys
I don't like people.
you guys
like
want to keep feeding your thing, that's fine, but I got a good night's sleep, so.
Yeah, no, nobody likes him. Nobody, and I mean nobody likes that guy. And the next question was, and I almost read this wrong because we're talking about. I almost read it. Your favorite food, but actually, what Richard wanted to know was what was your favorite wood to turn. And I just saw the OOD and we were talking about food, so I about said, "What's your favorite food?" Anyway, so what's your favorite wood to turn?
New wood.
Greenwood.
New wood. Like something I haven't turned before.
Oh,
because it always brings challenges. Always.
Can you think of a number of woods that you haven't turned off the top of your head?
I haven't turned a lot of olive wood. I haven't turned a lot of the more exotic things because I'm also cheap. And
Cocobolo? What about Cocobolo?
Harvest.
Have you turned Cocobolo?
Yeah. Okay. I have some Cocobolo. I haven't turned it yet.
What about Purple Heart?
Purple Heart? Yes, I've turned quite a bit of that.
Okay.
I don't like turning Purple Heart.
No, me neither. I'm not, and like I said, I'm not as good as you are, and that shit splinters. There was one that I did turn though. I had one that came out really good, and one that came out splintery as heck, and it was palm wood, black palm.
Yeah, black palm.
That actually, if you can manage to keep it together while you're turning it, that turns out beautiful. It's
a grass, isn't it? It's rather than a wood.
Basically, basically. But I mean, because that will splinter like a yeah. All right, cool.
Well, also, Wingy is the splinter shower.
Oh yeah.
But
another wood that's gorgeous if you get it done right.
Right.
Oh my god. All right, this is gonna.
That's a sort of wood that, and without it's going to go back to it again, and I don't mean for it, but that's the sort of wood that would need a CA finish because even after sanding, it will still poke back up afterwards if you don't give it the proper finish.
Well, we welcome more questions from the peanut gallery at the comment section out there. If you guys have any, please hit Darryl with him because he's here for a reason. He's here to answer any questions you have. But the last one from Richard is, and then I think he's actually trying to stir the pot before he knew there was a pot to be stirred. He must know what your favorite type of finish is. And don't say CA. Don't say CA. I don't want to go down that road again. But whatever. I mean, if it is, it is. I mean, tell me what you think.
So, my favorite glossy finish is CA. That's my favorite glossy finish. But as far as an alternative to a shiny finish, I'm still formulating that. I'm trying a couple things out to see what would be a favorite. So, wax right now is running pretty high. I like, because I've been, like I said, I'm working on tool technique and getting better finishes. When you get a really good finish, I use a Beal buffing system. And I'll go through those three wheels: the Triple E, the White Diamond, and the Carnauba wax. And it is marvelous when you get it just right. It's marvelous. It feels good. It looks good. It feels good. It hits all the marks.
Robert over at Hodgepodge Woodworks asked, "What's the biggest piece you finished with CA?"
It was a segmented vase. It was, I want to say, like 14 inches tall and maybe 6-7 inches in diameter at the widest point.
That's a big piece.
Yeah. Big time. Big time.
Benjamin's got a question in the chat. Darryl, he asks, which other tunnels inspire your box making?
I don't know the guy's name. I think it's Bob. I want to say it's Bob Lee. If you're talking about the off-axis box, it's Bob. I think his name is Bob Lou or Bob Lee. I went to I worked at the symposium in Tennessee in 2019, and he made 3 of those off-axis boxes, the square lidded boxes. He made 3 of them in 3 different sizes, and they were just spectacular. and I saw that in 2019, and it was a thing that I logged away in the back of my mind that I was going to do that. And it just so happened it came up in my mind, a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it, and I don't care if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to do it, and I did it.
Good Ton Blair, Good Ton Blair by Daly. No, Good Blair from Good Ton Daly has a question. What was your biggest challenge to turn, and do you still own it? Obviously, this is discounting storage space for chucks, right? What's your biggest challenge to turn?
Well, I've turned some pretty interesting pieces of wood. Probably the most challenging was I was working on a vase not too long ago. It was a holly vase, and it was rotten in the middle, and it was a rectangular piece of wood, and I could put my hand through it. If I flatten out my fingers, I could put my hand through the middle of it, and I turned that into a vase. It's not complete yet. I still, I really like the direction it's going, but it was one of those things where I need to contemplate a couple of.
Have you looked into stabilizing wood? I mean, stabilizing stuff like that, because I know that some spalted wood gets to be pretty freaking punky, and it helps to stabilize it beforehand. Have you looked into that?
I have, but I'm not a patient man, and stabilizing takes too long. Plus, a lot of times when I turn those pieces, it's usually because somebody that I know, usually in my club, because there's this whole thing where they keep telling me that there's wood I can't turn. And so they bring it in, and I show them how wrong they are.
Well,
so,
Blair did have a good question, because you've made a lot. You've made a number of pieces that we know of, and you've probably made more that we don't know of. But do you still own them, or have you given them away, sold them, or do you still have everything that you've ever made?
So I do. I very seldomly sell anything. Most of the pieces I still have them. I haven't given away anything that I would consider an art piece. I haven't actually given it away. I haven't sold very many either, but quite a few of them are on display in various places in Central Florida. The Rockler store has probably 10 pieces, 10 of my favorites that I don't want to let go of. But there's only so much room in my house to display things. So they're very happy to have them in the store, and I'm very happy that they're somewhere where they're not going to get damaged, and somebody can appreciate that.
John says he's got a newbie question. What is stabilizing wood? And who wants to tackle that? It's basic. I can give you a brief Cliff Notes version of that, John. And it's basically taking wood that normally is very soft, very punky, and you're adding like a resin to it that will then harden that aspect of the wood and make it so it won't be so punky. And you're stabilizing the wood so that it is all one density, I guess is what is. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Yeah, I'll go one better. I'd direct him into Jake Thompson's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's got whole videos and series is on that.
I'm glad you guys answered that. I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
After you, sir. You're the guest.
Piggyback on that a little bit. Stabilization is used for several things. One, like Chris said, is stabilizing punky wood. And what you're actually doing when you stabilize, which a lot of people, some people don't know, is you're actually pulling the air out of the cells of the wood, and because it's submerged in a resin, once you've sucked out as much air as you can and you break that vacuum, the spaces where that the air occupied becomes flooded with the resin, and then when you bake the resin and cure it, basically that's what you did. You just took out all the air pockets and replaced it with resin. So in a lot of ways, when you stabilize something, it's more resin than it is wood, actually. But another reason why is I have a good friend, Aaron, at Born in the Barn Crafts. I think that's it. Born in the Barn Crafts. He colors wood with it. So he'll take spalted wood, particularly because he likes spalted wood, but he'll take spalted wood or figured wood, and what he'll do is he'll put it in the resin with a color. He'll dye the resin a certain color and drop it in there to dye it first, and then take it over to the vacuum chamber and infuse it with the resin and bake it.
Yeah,
really good
And
idea.
that's more of an aesthetics thing versus trying to solve a punky problem or something like that.
Yeah, you get some really nice effects with some of them as well.
Yeah.
Glad you guys answered that professionally. I was going to say, send it to his. How do you stabilize punky wood? Well, you send it to his bedroom and take away his Ramones and Sex Pistols albums. But hey, what do I know?
Maybe I should let you take the floor on that one.
Dale, I knew there was a reason why we wanted you here. I knew I think you just made that very apparent. You're a sick man. But we love you for it, which is why you're awesome. Anybody else got anything that they want to hit Darryl over the head with before we let him out here? Darryl, you got anything that you want to tell people about, or maybe that you just think, hey, this wasn't asked of me today, and I'd like to share it with the community? I mean, we don't want to know if you have zits on your back, but I mean, what's going on?
I don't appreciate you putting that out there.
Oh, no.
But,
I'll buy you a back brush. Don't worry.
One thing I will share is that my wife and I we have been planning to move to the Carolinas, that area up there, South Carolina, probably. And we've had this
closer to Chris, don't you?
Huh?
You realize that's closer to Chris.
It's closer to me. Well,
Yeah.
actually, and before Jamie says anything else, my wife and I have actually been looking to move to that same area. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
So you maybe you want to think about Virginia. Is all I'm saying. Well,
Now we'll move there anyway.
Good.
It's fine.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But we've had that plan for a while. Just one of our kids is in college right now, and we didn't know that his Florida residency would be in jeopardy if we left when we had intended to. But anyway, the goal is to move to the Carolinas and buy some property. And I actually want to start a school. So I want to start a hobby. I haven't come up with the name or anything yet because I'm still a little bit out. But basically like a hobby university, so people can come in and learn how to do a hobby. Because I'd like to learn welding, but I don't want to go to Daytona State because I don't care about the specifics for being a welder, right? All the requirements and the standards and all that. I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to take an old tank and weld a couple pieces to it and make a stake and keep it out of the door.
I want to be able to stick two pieces of metal together and have it hold up. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And the other part of what I want to do is because, I teach classes now in this area. And the problem is that people take the class, and it's, how much are you going to invest in a new hobby to get familiar with it? So, it's nice to take a class, but if you're not going to invest a couple $1,000s buying stuff, it's hard to continue. So part of it will be, you can pay your tuition for the class, but then also there'll be a studio component as well. So you can come back when classes aren't being held, and part of your tuition, you can come back and use the equipment and use the shop so that you can further your hobby, and you can really get a feel for whether that's for you or not.
Benjamin says, Darryl, I got a business idea for you. Start a school, meals included, barbecue, of course. And you know what, Ben, that's not a bad idea because he could do like weekend getaways, and weekend getaways could include barbecue.
Summer school.
Yeah, it's like, hey, DeResta does it. I mean, why can't Darryl?
Bowls and barbecue. Yeah,
little weekend getaway.
There you go. You even come out with a name. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Bring your.
I could even do a cutting board workshop, boards and barbecue.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Better you than me.
Finials and fires.
Pack a tent.
Right.
Camp in Darryl's yard. and classes will begin. That's actually a great idea. Darryl, if you do that, I want to know because I'll come.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna. That's definitely on the horizon. The wife is on board. Everybody, we just, we got to wait for a couple other things. As parents, that's our job to make sacrifices for our kids who do not appreciate it.
Trust me, I know because my son was born in Florida. We moved to the Northeast, and he decided he wanted to go back to school in Florida, and it took us forever to establish residency for him, and it cost us a little bit of money in between the time because it was expensive to be an out-of-state student in Florida. Right. Anyway, all right. Well, we're winding down on time here a little bit. So, Darryl, last question to you is: do you have anybody in the community who you enjoy or have enjoyed, or just somebody who's piqued your interest recently that you want to give some love to today? Because we got to get on to letting Jamie pretend to be the fat woman and sing here in a second. But if you prior to him screwing it all up for you, I wanted to give you the opportunity to go ahead and tell somebody, hey, to check out this person, because if we're not aware, I'm sure we'll be happy to.
Okay. I want to give a shout out to my good friend Jax Doyle of J&D Creations on YouTube and Instagram. He does some fantastic wood turning and woodworking projects, particularly if you like resin. He does a really, really good job, and he's super entertaining. And I have no idea why this man doesn't have more followers. So if you should go check him out. And if you're as incensed about it as I am, be sure to subscribe and support this man. And also, just a little extra about him. He used to be a magician, as I've come to find out, of some fame actually. And he did an underwater escape in a tank with I think it was a 12-foot crocodile.
He's crazy. So this is the kind of guy we need to go see. And
this is the kind of guy we need to have on the podcast as
let me get it right.
Darryl.
Hold on. God, go ahead.
I was going to say, Darryl, you might want to lift your headphones off your ears for this next bit.
No. Because I was... But the gentleman's channel is the letters J-N-D Creations, correct?
Correct.
All right, go check. And if for those of you that are watching live, the link to that is actually down in the chat. Click on Show More. You'll see it. It'll say Jamie Page links, and J&D Creations is there. So, all right, God. Dale, see, you could say that again now. It would be appropriate. Go right ahead.
Left your headphones off, man.
Before you do that, Darryl, there's a quick name suggestion for you over in the chat. It's Not Your Average School.
Okay.
Play on words with your Dread Knot Woodshop. So yeah, there you go.
Left it off.
There you go. It's Jamie's page.
Oh, God, he does it to me every freaking time he gets me.
Right. So first stop for the little bit of news that's coming out is Wendy over at Toonpish Crafts hit her first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. So well done to Wendy.
Wendy, we were at it for 5 years. It only got there last week, so good for you.
So there is a premiere to mention tonight. Scott the Blue Light Turner has a premiere going on right as the show ends. I'm not sure if it's a new time slot that he's starting up, but he has got a premiere going on tonight, and I told him I'd give him a mention. So yeah, he's got a premiere starting tonight. So the first of the shout-outs for us three would be Sean Evely. He's brought out a video called Take Your Woodwork to the Next Level, How to Make Inlay Banding. And the reason for that one was it was nice to see Sean again and how far he's progressed. We have actually interviewed Sean before, and he was only a wee little child when we interviewed him.
He was still
about 15. Yeah, I think he was about 15.
He was still in high school when we talked to him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's definitely come a long, long way. He's doing some fantastic work. Yeah. He's not drinking out of a bottle anymore.
we should get him back on if he'll have us,
or at least a kind of bottle. Right?
Yeah, he's got alcohol in this bottle. So the next one goes to Jeremiah Dawes. You can probably guess where this one came from. He did a video 10 months ago where he built a PVC track for a homemade rideable train. There's not really any reason as to why this video got a shout out, but you can probably understand why from the title. It's a pretty good video, to be honest with you.
It's crackers.
That guy over there.
And the final one is I personally want to shout out the Virtual Craft Festival and everybody that took part in it yesterday. And it was a fantastic day. Absolutely fantastic day, and I probably want to ask Darryl to come in for the May event.
Come back, Darryl.
Because he keeps crying to me every single month that we put it on. Will you have me back?
No,
and I'm like, you have to wait.
I don't think you're hearing that right, Jamie. I believe it's you.
I don't see Darryl crying to you about anything.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Darryl to come back for
do you
the month of May.
Do you mind if I take 2 seconds and say thank you? And this is going to be uncomfortable for me because I'm not used to giving out compliments. I want to say thank you to Carl, Jamie, and also Dale for the work they put into that event yesterday. You guys did an amazing job with that. Congratulations that it came off as well as it did. And I enjoyed, I wasn't able to see every single one that was there, but I saw a lot of them, and it was awesome. I mean, yes, you guys did well. So pat yourself on the back because, in my opinion, we need to do more of this.
It was definitely up there with one of the best ones. We've already started getting some people on for the month of May already, like I just said. I've already booked a professional blacksmith to come on. Cammy's Garage has already agreed to come back. And a couple of others have agreed as well. So it's next month. Hopefully it's going to be as good as the next. Or good as the last, should I say.
All right, before we get out of here.
Final piece of business is I've got a premiere in 32 minutes.
Oh, I forgot. Jamie had to I forgot. I forgot. I interrupted. Jamie had to promote himself before I could speak again. Jamie, I love you. And good luck with that premiere because I know you had issues with it.
Yeah, I nearly broke my arm, but...
Darryl, do you have anything on...
And that's in the video as well, by the way.
Okay, well, that's cool. And before we let Darryl go, because Darryl, you've been a delightful guest. Thanks for coming on and putting up with us today. We appreciate it. But do you have anything coming down the pipe that would that people might want to know about, or you just kind of like keeping everything close to vest?
No, I don't really plan that far in advance, so you kind of see it develop. If you follow me, you kind of see it develop as it goes.
Yeah. So when you see it, you see it. That's basically what it was. Yeah. Darryl, thanks for coming on with us, buddy. It was good to have you.
All right. Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Pleasure. Even though Jamie's here.
I've got 100% attendance. I'll be here next week as well.
No, all right. No, just because of that, you've now guaranteed yourself an invite back. Because if that's your attitude towards Jamie, we automatically love you. All right, Jamie, wrap it up.
Right. So until next week, I guess that's gonna be it for this week.
We do know what we're doing next week.
We do know what we're doing next week.
Should we promote that? Just as a thought.
We can do. Yeah, go for it, Chris.
You promote yourself. I mean, we might as well do this. I mean, come on, Paige. Jump on board.
Go on, go for it.
I have no idea what iteration of this we're going to take, but we did a podcast about a year ago, back in February, called Pocket Studios, and for some reason, Jamie and Dale want to revisit that conversation, so we're going to talk about Pocket Studios again next week. So yes, you, Dale, don't look like you like you have no blame in this.
So until next week, when we shall be revisiting Pocket Studios, that's basically so you can create videos from your phones, basically. But it's going to be a lot more interesting than that.
No, it's about trouser pockets. It's really about trouser pockets. It's about pants. It's about pants pockets.
So there you go. Until next week. Go on, Chris.
I would rather do a show about Daryl's barbecuing than what we're doing. But all right, go ahead, Jimmy.
Until next week when we're doing a show about Daryl's barbecuing. Right, until next week, when we're doing a show about Pocket Studios, I shall see you then. So it's a good night from me.
Have a great
And
week,
it's good
everybody.
night from him.
Take it easy, everybody.
Awesome.